We just went through a set of exercises with Christine. Now I'm going to go through special populations and how I would adapt the exercises we just did with Christine accordingly. If the client had high blood pressure or hypertension is if your blood pressure readings are consistently 140 over 90 or higher over a number of weeks. You may also have high blood pressure if just one of these numbers is higher than it should be over a number of weeks. If you have high blood pressure, this higher pressure puts extra strain on your heart and blood vessels. Over time, the extra strain increases your risk of a heart attack or a stroke. The organs in your body need oxygen to survive. Oxygen is carried through the body by the blood. When the heart beats, it creates pressure that pushes blood through a network of tube-shaped arteries and veins, also known as blood vessels. The pressure of the blood is the result of two forces. The first force occurs as blood pumps out of the heart and into the arteries that are part of the circulatory system, and the second force is created as the heart rests between heartbeats. I would seek a clearance from an allied health professional for clearance for my prescribed exercises, but I would do the following if presented with a client with high blood pressure. The fitness test push-up in 1 minute. I would make sure this would be on the client's knees and slow and controlled movements, keeping the intensity low and making sure the client is comfortable at all times with correct form. If form is lost, I would also lower the reps if the client was struggling. A dumbbell chest press. No change, keep the client comfortable and the intensity down. Lower reps if needed if the client is struggling. A single arm row. No change, keep the client comfortable and intensity down, and lower reps again. Body weight lunge, no change as long as client is comfortable and you're keeping the intensity low. Step ups, no change, keep client comfortable and form controlled to a low intensity as well. The ground up runs, however, I will change to a touch and run, as you don't want to be going up and down with movements with a client with high blood pressure, and keep a close eye on them to maintain the low intensity. If a client presents with lower back pain, it could represent an injury or a serious inflammation. I would seek a professional clearance from an allied health professional first in order to carry out the prescribed exercises, and I will change the following in order to support the client. For lower back pain with the fitness test push-up, I would change this to a wall squat for 1 minute to see how long the client could hold the squat for 1 minute. Dumbbell chest press, no change, just to keep the client comfortable and the intensity down. I would lower the reps if need to, if the client is struggling, and make sure at all times the back is flat into the bench. Single arm row, I would change this to a seated row to make sure the back is supported at all times. Body weight lunge, I would change the lunge to a leg press where the client could sit and the back be supported by the back of the bench and no curve of the spine, whilst we're still targeting the hamstrings and quadriceps without the risk of injury. The weight would be lowered also and intensity kept down. Step ups, I would lower the step height so the client can hold the form correctly by landing in the heels and making sure their core is stabilised so that they weren't using their lower back. Ground up runs, I would change this exercise to touch and run, not ground to up, as the up and down movements would not be good for a client with back pain. Making sure that they're stabilising their core and keeping a close eye on them with a lower intensity and making sure the client is comfortable at all times. Moving on to knee injury. If a client presents with a knee injury, I would seek professional clearance from an allied health professional in order to determine how injured the knee is and what area of the knee is injured. I would change the following in order to support the client with a knee injury. The fitness test push-ups in 1 minute. I would change this to a wall push-up so that the client was not on their knees at all. Dumbbell chest press, no change with this as long as keep the client comfortable and the correct form is held. Single arm row, I will change this exercise to a single arm row leaning on a supported bench so the client was not using their knees or on their knee at all. Body weight lunge, I would change it to a fit ball squat where the client will be able to sit onto the fit ball, therefore taking pressure off the knees. Step ups, I would make sure the step is not too high, make sure the client is landing in the heel first and the glutes are always activated as with the core to take any pressure off the knee. Again, I would lower the time if it was too much and I could see the client was struggling. Ground up runs, I would change this to a touch and run, not ground to up, as the movements would not be good with the pressure on the knee. Again, keep a close eye on the client to maintain a low intensity.